we cannot say that it's sheer luck that I cleared in first attempt, because such thoughts do come into our mind. So I would also give a small background of myself, because I come from a very extremely humble background. I started reading newspaper. Back then I used to read Times of India. There was no one to guide me that the Hindu was a newspaper. So I came across Raw's Eyes. It was very near. So I used to come every month. From the starting of my third year of undergraduation, I used to come, collect the Focus magazine, go back, do the studies, and follow the DNS. March, I came here, I got admitted for the 2019 batch, and a full-fledged preparation started from 2009. Just because one question came from such so-and-so book, don't read the entire book. And don't try to refer a book for every topic. So that's a very bad strategy. Don't do that. You will not find, mostly you won't find the time, but you have to squeeze time. At the end, it's the mains marks that will get counted for your ranking. Get it evaluated. Please ensure that you write all the tests that are conducted. Don't give an excuse that I'm not prepared. You will not be prepared even when you're writing your mains. Do the DNS without fail, because DNS just will not give you just the news, it will give you historical background and an analysis. Very informative. And Focus magazine I used to refer. Focus magazine gives you detailed information, and DNS. So I'm stressing on this because it's a constant material which will stay with you, is DNS, Focus and newspaper. The physical health is also very important. I was almost obese when I was doing my preparation. So I got scared after doing all these studies and hard work if I become temporarily unfit because of my physical health. So take care of your physical health as well. So taking care of your physical health and mental health is a way of handling stress. And the institute who supported me, so be it in getting a material or during the COVID when the prelims compass, when we were not able to travel, so they sent it through post and they showed a gesture by supporting us. So in this way, the institute and mentors, they also get a role to play in my journey.
And welcome back, Bindu. So you've been sitting on these benches for a long while. Feels nice to sit this side. Absolutely. So you're from Bangalore, right? And this was your first attempt. So how do you feel?
So firstly, I would say first clearing in the first attempt is an aim and ambition for most of the people who are giving the exams, and I'm very happy that I was able to do it in the first attempt. So we cannot say that it's sheer luck that I cleared in first attempt, because such thoughts do come into our mind. But I would say a right way of studying, right tips and strategies did help me, and I'm very glad that I'll be sharing it with you all. And also, I would also give a small background of myself, because I come from a very extremely humble background. So I didn't have the privilege of meeting any civil servants during my preparation as well. So whatever I did, it was sheer I would say a passion to become a civil servant. So if I am able to do it, I think definitely with that focus and single-minded hard work, definitely you'll be able to do it. So in the further discussion, I will be sharing everything that I did, and any minute doubts, do not consider it to be stupid or very trivial. Please do ask, because if you don't ask now, you will regret it not asking later. Okay? So thank you.
Well, that's so nicely said. So Bindu, to start with your academic background. So you're from Bangalore. So what's your academic background? How did your interests develop? And what point of time did you decide that you're going to be preparing for civils? And also, just this last addition part. So before you actually joined the coaching center here, which you've done both the GS and the optional, uh, is there something you did before you joined for the coaching?
My background is in academic background. I have done commerce from 11th and 12th from Christ PU College, Bangalore, Hosur Road, and I've completed my BCom honors in banking and insurance from Christ deemed to be university. So this ambition of being a civil servant, it's a what I would say is a little girl's dream. So it was from a very young age I had aspired without knowing actually what civil services actually means. But this small thought, I preserved it, I nourished it, because not just because because I needed it, because I used to look around about the pain and sorrows of people around me. So that thought used to come, what can I do? So then civil services, which I always had in my mind, it correlated with that. And I would also really thank the positive reinforcement given by my parents and my relatives. So they always gave me the push and motivated me just right from a young age, that you have to do it, you can do it. So from there it all started. So when I was around my 10th, I decided completely that I will be taking up civil services. That's how I started it. So how the small initial preparation that I started was mostly from my 10th. I started reading newspaper. Back then I used to read Times of India. There was no one to guide me that the Hindu was a newspaper. So I started reading Times of India, and I continued Times of India when I was in my 11th and 12th. So later on I realized it is the Hindu newspaper that I'm supposed to follow. So I started that from my first year of undergraduation. I started reading newspaper. So during my studies itself, in the second year, I thought to myself that it's time for me to start with the real preparation. And I brought my first book for my preparation, that is Lakshmi Kant, Indian Polity. I brought that in the year 2017. I started. So when that happened, gradually I brought NCRTs also. So all the standard books, the basic books that I needed, I started. So in the year 2019, I was thinking of, okay, when I'll be completing my undergraduation, I have to take up a coaching. So then I was evaluating which are the institutes around. So I came across Rao's IAS. It was very near. So I used to come every month, from the starting of my third year of undergraduation. I used to come, collect the Focus magazine, go back, do the studies, and follow the DNS. I used to do the basic current affairs practice, and I used to read all the standard books. So this continued for almost a year, and 2019 came. March, I came here, I got admitted for the 2019 batch, and a full-fledged preparation started from 2019. So this is how I prepared for civil services.
Well, that's pretty nice. That's also one of these really nice things that a lot of people should think about, that maybe some kind of reading of NCRTs or a basic background before we come to class, maybe every day or maybe slightly before that, helps us to absorb so much more as to what is happening within the classes, right? Now, now, as you joined, obviously one of these challenges that everybody starts to face is you've got those massive lectures. So you've got those at least 4 hours of lectures coming around, and then the optional, that is another 2.5 hours minimum. So with those classes, how do you manage your schedule? Because it's just 1 year, like schedule has to be like, perfect, right? So how did you manage your scheduling, and what were the nuances to those schedulings during your lecture was going on, and then maybe in the weekends and maybe after your coaching finished up? So how did you do that to the run up to the papers?
So first, answering about the NCRT, sir. Reading NCRT is very subjective. I didn't read many NCRTs because I thought I didn't needed that. You read NCRTs for the basic topics. Only for those topics you're not able to understand and build a foundation. If at all you start spending hours and hours in NCRT, that will not give the same benefit. Do the cost-benefit analysis. And if you just take one question that came from NCRT in one prelims, and if you start reading the whole book, it's not right. Because NCRT is only to build the base. So don't depend 100% or majority on NCRTs. You need NCRTs for a little technical subjects like geography. I relied on NCRTs for 11th and 12th NCRT for geography because it's a very new subject, and for that we need NCRTs. But for subjects like Indian polity or economy, yes, if you're not from an economy background, you can read NCRTs, but give 2-3 readings before coming to the class, so that when sir is doing the class, you have a little base, and if you have any doubt, you can ask if you're prepared in hand. So you can do that. But NCRT is very subjective, and specific reading of NCRTs is needed. I'm not able to understand Lok Sabha, so for that I'll refer NCRT. Don't read complete NCRT because it's not going to reap you complete benefit. And secondly, coming with respect to managing time, GS 2 GS classes and 1 optional classes, it's little draining because you have to do current affairs also, you have to come and read at home, and you have to do DNS also. The maximum you can do is whatever has been done in the class, go home, read the class notes, read the material, and read the relevant topics from the standard material, and make a small. Don't make a note. Don't make notes initially. After everything is completed, right? When there are columns in the materials and in the standard book, there if you need, you can make a note. So do these things. Whatever is done in the class, class notes, the materials given by the institute, and the standard book. Read these things. You will not find, mostly you won't find the time, but you have to squeeze time. Sometimes it becomes a little hectic. I am admitting this because it's not a easy walk. Sometimes you will have to give up your sleep because you have to complete the syllabus, you have to revise also, and you have to give tests also. It becomes a little difficult. So try to, as soon as the class gets over, go back to your home, take a little nap, and take a power nap, and then start studying. So don't spend time outside the institute, going to the food outlets, because that will drain a lot of time. So I would say, instead of group discussion, do more of one-on-one or individual with a teacher, because group discussion will drain the time completely. One person's point of view, second person's point of view, don't do that. At least initially, don't do that. Interview, it will help you. Interview, do not think about interview right now. So right now what you can do is allocate 1 hour for your current affairs. For a newspaper, don't spend 2 hours in newspaper. Do a proper reading of newspaper, including editorial, 45 minutes. And then do the DNS without fail, because DNS just will not give you just the news, it will give you historical background and an analysis, and the analysis is very important for your mains answer writing. So DNS is it's a very important thing to do every day. Do not miss or do not skip. And Focus magazine every month, do it properly. If at all there was an extraordinary event that happened, you were not able to follow DNS, at least Focus magazine will cover up that. So you can do that. So it will be a little straining during when you're doing all the 3 subjects, but it will pay off well if you do the work as allotted.
Right. Well, and one of these other things that students get when they come, one is this coping with the schedules, and then an essential part of what they have to deal with is, where do I make notes? Which subjects do I make notes for? Especially current affairs seems, extraordinary. So how do I make notes for that? And what are the, factors based on which I'm going to make that? And question answer writing practice that I do daily, most likely. I mean, how often should I do it? And then how much time do I allocate to that? So how did you deal with those questions?
Current affairs is a vast topic, so what you can do is, let's simplify that. So prelims and mains do not need the same type of current affairs. Mains needs more of analytical, and prelims needs a little factual. So what I did, there comes one book called 5-in-1 book, where you can segregate the topics. What I used to do is, one topic, all the indices I used to write. Second part, I used to do all the international organization. I used to make that notes. And third, I used to write IUCN lists, those things, and the committees. So I used to segregate it. And at the last, what I used to do is take all the datas, whatever I need for mains, I used to do it. Education, health, water, agriculture, demography related, women issues. So all these information I used to write it there. So this was a little segregation. And for mains, what I used to do, GS1, take GS1. Take a broader heading, so the topics that comes. GS1 is more of static, so I would take the topic of GS3, which is quite dynamic. Economy related. Just write economy. Mostly it will be more of problems, challenges, those kinds of analysis, and solutions or suggestions or recommendation. So problems, take a topic. If you're comfortable online, doing it online, you can do it online as well. I was comfortable offline, so I used to do it offline. So problems, you just need to take down points which you'll be able to use in answer writing. Do not take down points which are not useful at all. If it is, if you're able to bring that in your answers, only then take it, or else it will be a waste of time. Okay, if it's a problem, for example, if it's a problem of inflation, so this is the inflation solution to inflation, this way. the analysis would tell you that. So you can do that. So in one go, you have all the topics and all the solutions also. So and the same way for health is more of challenges and solution. So solution give a more space because new innovation keeps coming in. So give a more space for that. Education, that goes with education as well. This is the way I was dealing with current affairs. So prelims, another topic was another way. Few information that I was not able to fit in that 5-in-1. So I just had a small book, the schemes and all. So all the schemes in one go, I used to write, this is the scheme, these are the important features. If it is any miscellaneous information, prelim selected, I used to, in one day's news, in a quarter of a page, I used to finish that. So in one go, you can revise that also. So don't write 2 pages for one day current affairs. It just has to be quarter of the page or less than quarter. So that's how, because prelims related things would be covered in 5-in-1 or here miscellaneous 2-3 topics, that's all. Answer writing, yeah. Answer writing, do not be fearful of writing answer, because initially you'll have the fear of I don't have content, what do I do? So that fear will be there, but start writing the answer. Once you keep doing the course, your content starts building. When you're doing economy related classes, you'll get an economic perspective. So after that, you'll get a political perspective when your political classes happen. Once you complete the course, you have a holistic perspective. So if you decide to do the answer writing after the course, it'll be too late for you, because you'll have other things to deal with. You'll have mock tests to do. You'll be having revisions to do. So your priorities keep changing at different stages. So answer writing has to start from the initial day. So one thing that you can start with is a previous year question paper. So I think every teacher will be giving you questions to write. Please ensure that you write questions, because I've interacted with a lot of students after the results. The one thing that I've seen them lacking is that they fear that they don't have guidance or to check the answers. But you have the privilege of teachers evaluating your answers, and you have to be very grateful for that, because you write an answer and you keep it aside. What's the point if you don't get to know the improving factor? So just you have to be behind the teachers. Teachers can't be behind you. You have to find time during the lunch hour, after the class, run behind them and get your answers evaluated. Because if you don't get your answers evaluated, at the end it's the mains marks that will get counted for your ranking. So mains start, if you have 1 week's down, it's okay, start writing the answers. There's no stopping. Look at the toppers' answers, how the way they're writing, the structuring, get it evaluated. Please ensure that you write all the tests that are conducted. Don't give an excuse that I'm not prepared. You will not be prepared even when you're writing your mains, but you'll have to give your mains. So ensure that you give all the tests. Don't give an excuse. Excuse cannot be a reason for you to not make into the list, okay? To not come into the list. So ensure all the tests, including prelims and mains. So after the answer writing practicing, you have to ensure that your wordings, the wording 250 words, please stick to that wordings, because you have negative marking for that also. So initially that's how you start, initially with timing. You'll take 20 minutes for the first answer. That's how you have to start decreasing it to 7 minutes or 9 minutes as per the questions. That is one criteria. Second is with respect to the handwriting. Even though it's not beautiful, it has to be understandable. Okay, that is one. Third is your content. Content building is a constant process. It happens at every stage of the preparation. So you have to be open to new things, open to new ways of answer writing, and bringing in few value to the answer. That is what that 5-in-1 book helped me. The committees, the data, the facts, it became handy for me at the end. I was able to use them in my answer writing, because they were already there for me. So I just used to refer and prepare well. And also the Compass magazines. When it comes to your prelims and mains, you can refer to the previous year mains compasses of prelims and mains also, because the static portion is the same. So if at all you think you don't have content for your answer, you can refer to that. Because more of static portions, if you refer, you'll get the answer. I used to do that for economy. If the economic classes are not happening, I used to refer that, I would get a base. So that's how I used to do my answer writing. Consistently write at least 3 answers. 2 GS, the 2 GS papers, and 1 optional. Optional consistently you have to write. Ensure that you finish your optional one complete reading and 1 revision before your prelims. So that's the best way of going and writing the prelims, because if your option is ready, within the 3 months you can do proper very good answer writing with content, and you'll be able to score well in the mains.
Well, thank you for that detailed answer. I guess you've taken a lot of these different aspects and put them together into one, even while answering here. So nice of you. Thank you. Now, these tests that you were talking about just. So, what are the kind of frequency of these tests? Are there different types of tests, and how should we order those different types of tests for the prelims, for the mains? And was your revision strategy, I mean, what was your kind of revision strategy, and was it correlated or timed with tests? I mean, did you do a test-based revision strategy, and were there other elements to your revision?
So the tests, how it has been scheduled in RAUS is after every subjects that you finish, after each section, tests will be conducted. So you would have revised on a daily basis what has been done. So irrespective of whether you're prepared or not, give the test. So that's how you have to do, because it's like a revision. A test is one form of revision. It's with practicality. And that is one. And prelims also, it happens monthly, based on the monthly focus magazine. So one way of ensuring that you're on track is to give the test, because it will ensure that you finish the focus magazine, do a revision and give a test, you complete it. It's one way of satisfaction also. So that at least for that satisfaction you have to give the test. You get the marks, but taking the marks and evaluating is one way of correcting. So test has a multi-dimensional view. So that's how you have to take test, the view of testing. And how I used to revise. I used to do daily, every day what I used to do is, I used to irrespective of anything, I used to do the GS2 things, and my option I used to complete it on that day, because it will pile up. At the end of the day, it starts piling up. So, and you'll not know what to do. So that what to do thing shouldn't come. So I used to finish it on a daily basis. Once the subject is finished, what I used to do is, once it is done, I used to bring that for revision pattern. I used to plan my revision every month. Every month I used to do the revision, and once in 15 days, and once in 7 days, and everyday revision that used to happen. Sometimes this wasn't I wasn't able to follow this because a little workload was there because of the doing of GS and optional, but most of the time I was able to revise. So once the revision the classes got over, because I was 2000 March to December, I had time for revision. So from Jan I started revising, and because of COVID again I got a time for revision. So my revision was consistent. Mostly it was consistent based on monthly revision, because once you finish a subject you have to bring it for revision, or else it won't get into your long-term memory and you will have to start a new subject again. So that was the only reason I used to prioritize revision. So monthly, 15 days, 7 days, every day. So 7 days is your current affairs and your GS, whatever topics have been done. 15 days once is your GS again. Monthly is your focus magazine, the subject that has been covered, and if at all another subject has been covered, you can bring that. And also with every revision, the time duration for your revision has to reduce. Okay, that's how the revision has to go. If for first revision you're finishing Lakshmikant revision in 7 days, it has to reduce to 6, 5, 4 in that way.
So Bindu, like everybody who comes around initially for the coaching, they've got that high energy, right? They've got all that motivation going. They've got enthusiasm, right? And then a month passes, and 2 months passes, and there are 3 months, and then there's absenteeism, right? And then especially as the paper starts to come closer, there is stress, and sometimes you get the test results, and the test results don't always look good, obviously, right? So the motivation goes down, and everybody has to obviously find their own way of keeping themselves up there, right? What was your way of dealing with both all of these turmoils of the preparation as well as the stress which is part of the game?
When you're in the initial days of coaching, you'll be very excited to do it. But later on, I would say your friend circle, people with whom you're spending time, they also matter. Not everyone who gets into the coaching institution has a vision. They have the vision of clearing it in the first attempt. They make a 5-year plan, 3-year plan and come. So be wise in choosing your friends in the institute, or it's okay, go alone, no matter. Doesn't matter, just go alone. If you're fortunate, you'll find a friend. If you're not, then be a good friend to your own self and go along with yourself. What you can do is have a good contact with your teachers. So if you are in contact with your teachers, the marks that you get in your test, show the answer paper to the teachers. They will tell you whether the scoring of your tests have been right, or whether where you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to improve, and the correcting factor is something that they can tell. Correction comes from Delhi, but you can have a face-to-face interaction there. Sometimes you get a very low score, but don't feel bad. It will happen. Sometimes you will feel low, but just consider that this too shall pass. So that moment, okay, you got a low mark, but now you have the scope for improvement. Okay, I can improve and get a better score next time. So that has to be the spirit. But I agree. I used to feel bad when I used to get low in my test, but I improved. I improved and I was able to score well. So that's how you're supposed to challenge yourself. Don't compare yourself to anyone. Compare yourself to yourself, and be honest to yourself. If you're not giving 100%, do not expect that to reflect in your marks, in your tests. So if you're giving effort and you're not able to score well, only then the role of a mentor comes in. Go to the teachers, take time and ask them where I'm supposed to improve, what is that quality or the content that is missing in my answer, the reason why I scored low. So that's how you're supposed to deal and have a relation with the teachers. So make utilization of such facilities. Stress will always be there. It's a constant factor, but it's your ability how you handle the stress. If you take the stress, it becomes a stressful process. But this journey is it's quite nourishing. It gives you transformation in personality. So try enjoying the process. I used to consider this to be a very joyful process, but at some point you feel it's very stressful. Everything is coming at one point of time. At one point, supposed to study a lot of things, so you feel like giving it up. But it's the purpose why you took the exam, the reason why you started the process, that has to be a reminder in your mind. So keep bringing that in your mind. If at all you feel low, I used to listen to the Labasna song and NPA, the National Police Academy song. So those songs are very, and I used to listen to them and I used to feel encouraged, and I used to start. You can do this also. It's on YouTube. You can listen to the songs. Those two songs, very encouraging. Just think that after the process gets over, you will have a very good time, which I am having right now. So that has to be motivating. Other than this, actually, it's your purpose. This is very materialistic. The purpose why you've taken it up, the reason why you started. So one way of handling stress is this. Meditation, you can do. I didn't do it. I regret not doing it. Because meditation is a very long process, so I thought it's a waste of time. So that was the wrong perception. I shouldn't have done that. If I would have done that, I think maybe I would have been in an even more better position, maybe. So meditation practice. Okay, the physical health is also very important. I was almost obese when I was doing my preparation. So when the medical exam came in, I got very scared. If I am more than 30 BMI, I think they'll put me temporarily unfit. So I got scared after doing all these studies and hard work, if I become temporarily unfit because of my physical health. So take care of your physical health as well. So taking care of your physical health and mental health is a way of handling stress. And know your purpose, have clarity about the purpose that you started.
That's some pretty nice advice. So Bindu, we've talked about so many different aspects of your preparation, and sources obviously constitute some of the most essential aspects to this. So your sources for the prelims and your sources for the mains, and subject-wise, in the sense that, I mean, current affairs is one big part, and then all those subjects. So what did you refer to? What is a standard, and is there something that you did apart from the standard?
So when it comes to the sources that I used, one thing I would say is minimum sources, minimum to minimum, because you can't read 10 books and revise them just once, but do the other way around. Read 1 or 2 books and revise them 10 times. It will be way more beneficial. Trust me, that will work. I'll go subject wise. I'll go GS paper 1, 2, 3, and that will cover your prelims also. For history, ancient, medieval, modern India. So ancient, I refer Tamil Nadu textbook to textbooks, but I referred only the one, because for the other one is modern India. Modern India, institute material is very nice. And also remember that the materials of the institute, they will refer different resources, and they put it in one place, so that you don't have to refer another resource. So so you can refer the material, institute material. I did Tamil Nadu thing, and I did the resources, I did the material, and for modern India, spectrum. I did spectrum. So these were my materials. For world history, institute book, I didn't refer anything because modern India this time though there were no questions only. So I didn't refer more material. So for me it was a very good benefit. And second, geography. Geography 11th and 12th and class materials. Nothing at all. Art and culture, there'll be two art and culture materials from here, and most of the art and culture gets covered from your current affairs, Focus magazine, Prelims Compass, and also from DNS, and your materials for ancient and medieval history, it gets covered there. So that is sufficient. That is sufficient, way more sufficient. Other than that, social justice in second paper, so women related issues and society, Indian society, the classes from sir and the previous year question papers are very much sufficient. So Indian society, these things are enough. Don't try to refer a book for every topic. So that's a very bad strategy. Don't do that. When you have a simplified materials provided by the institute, that's the reason you're joining the institute. Guidance and simplified resources. So utilize them and utilize them rightly. So do these things, and don't take wrong guidance of referring. Just because one question came from such so and so book, don't read the entire book. I'm repeating this again because people tend to do that. So don't do that. So this is from GS1. GS2, Indian polity and Indian polity related topics. Lakshmikant. I did Lakshmikant, and class notes. Class notes is very concise, so you can refer that. IR sir's, Rahul Puri sir had come for us. So sir's notes were very nice. Sir did answer writing practice also, very nice, very informative. And Focus magazine I used to refer. Focus magazine gives you detailed information, and DNS. So I'm stressing on this because it's a constant material which will stay with you, is DNS, Focus and newspaper. So this one has to be there. You have to back it up with DNS, Focus and newspaper. Next is social justice. Social justice, sir's notes is very concise, very nice. So you can refer to sir's notes. And also back it up with previous year questions. So you have to practice the previous year questions also eventually when you do all the topics. So that was also part of my preparation. I did GS3, GS paper 3. GS paper 3, Indian economy. Indian economy, for those who don't have economy background, you can refer the introduction to macroeconomics of NCERT. Give a 1 or 2 reading and then come to the class, so that you have a little base and you can cross question when you have any doubts. That you can do. And I also referred this one book called by Sanjeev Verma, Indian economy. And sir's notes and the booklets and sir's notes, previous year question paper. Indian economy previous year question paper is very important. Okay. Next we have science and tech. Science and tech, do not go for any separate book. The materials given by the institute and DNS and Focus magazine. There's a separate section science and tech, so you can refer that. And after that we have environment. Environment, I referred sir's notes and the coaching material. Nothing other than that. Environment becomes a little important topic from prelims perspective. So always back it up with tests and mock tests for prelims. After that, we have disaster management. Disaster management, when your classes are happening, QIP classes are happening, so disaster management classes will be covered. So do not read any separate book for disaster management. This will be covered again in your DNS, in your Focus magazine and class. So one, just because there's a separate topic given, doesn't mean the GS paper 3 paper will be completely filled with disaster management. Maximum 2 questions would be appearing. So for that, these classes and these DNS and Focus is sufficient. Coming to ethics. Ethics, complete 250 paper. I didn't read lexicon. I properly followed Vikram sir's notes, Vikram sir's class, and I used to write answers and get it evaluated. And sir will take separate answer writing classes also because of the case studies that comes. So for that, sir will be guiding you about how to write the answers. So ensure that you attend the classes, listen to the class and go through the notes. Only then, and practice the answer writing and get it evaluated, especially the case studies. Only then you'll be able to ace ethics. Okay, this was my strategy for all the GS papers and my resources.
Thank you, Bindu. Well, we've talked about so much, and let's get to the interview part. Yes, yeah. So, uh, were you a little nervous? I think you were a little nervous to start with for the interview days, right? But then you made such a massive, like, within a very short period of time, you such a massive improvement. And how did it go? So what was your strategy for the interview? Did you do something special? And I mean, I really know that your confidence increased massively from the first day to the final day. So please tell us about that.
So interview preparation, first, unfortunately, it was very long. The preparation for interview, it postponed again to from June to September. Got postponed, but initially I was a little scared because I think there were mistakes from my side, which I corrected. I used to not listen to the questions properly. I used to say what I knew than what was actually demanded. So that was the first mistake. Secondly was to think before answering. I used to not think, so I used to just start the answer. If at all I thought, I would have structured the answer. So that's one improvement that I did. And I used to hesitate to say I do not know. First few questions, I used to make a attempt of answering it. So even though I didn't know if I was answering, I was giving a wrong answer. So I took the courage to say I do not know. So these were the thing, and also analysis of the news on from a different side. For means we used to analyze and say what is the pros and cons and then conclude. Here I was supposed to have an opinion, and that should be constitutionally and morally right. So I started building my answers to be constitutionally and morally right and realistically applicable. So that's what I improved in my process. This might be a little simple to say, but it's a very long process, because building an opinion, it can be cross questioned. So but you need to have your right way of arguing to ensure that your point is being rightly accepted. So that's what I built, and the new way of seeing a newspaper also changed. So that's how the interview process evolved again, makes you evolve your process again, reconsider a few things and build an opinion, and do not make a I don't have a preconceived notion about any topic. You have to think, you have to see what is morally not right, morally not wrong, and then as an administrator, what would be your decision. So it should be maximizing the benefits of maximum number of people. So the utilitarian principle has to come in. So that's how I started to evolve in the interview process.
And you did great. Right. So, we've talked about so many different aspects, and well, you're successful. So, um, in the year that is to come, what is the final takeaway, that maybe the single most important point, or what everybody, you would want everybody to remember, at least on the top of their priority list? And who do you want to remember, like your parents or whoever, right? Because you're successful now.
So to the place, to wherever I'm standing right now. So firstly, first, I would say that my parents. So they took a strong decision of supporting me to this journey, because frankly speaking, we are not that financially stable to be able to support me through this process. But they took the decision to support me in this journey, and they were there with me the whole process, during the whole journey. So, and also definitely as a woman candidate, I had we might be facing different problems at a personal level, the question of marriage or the questioning of the neighborhood about what are you doing and why not supporting your family in your household chores. So that questions do pop up for a woman candidate. Even I did face it, but those are all very trivial things. Just ignore that. Just ignore like a noise around you. So ignore those stuffs. And if you have the support of your parents, everything is possible. So I would thank my parents and my relatives, especially. My father's brother supported me throughout the process financially and as a moral support as well. So they come first during the preparation. Secondly is my friends who were there. I have few friends, 3 or 4 friends. So they were there with me the whole process. They were there. supporting me, even though I was not able to meet them frequently or not meet them at all. So they knew and they considered my priorities and they respected that. So for that, I would really thank them. And thirdly comes the role of mentors and teachers and the institute who supported me. So be it in getting a material or during the COVID when the prelims compass, when we were not able to travel, so they sent it through post and they showed a gesture by supporting us. So in this way, the institute and mentors, they also get a role to play in my journey. So in this way, these three pillars were there in my whole journey, and I would really thank them wholeheartedly for supporting me and guiding me throughout the process. Yes, sir. So final thoughts to the aspirants here, because sometimes you feel that civil services is not my cup of tea. You will think that you made a wrong decision by taking it up. You will feel that it's we are too ordinary to take this journey. So if I'm able to make it as through the merit, for sure you will be able to make it. The few factors that differ is your motivation. The motivation, do not consider motivation to be that 5-minute speech or anything as such. Motivation is your inner drive, your purpose. The purpose has to be, you have to have a clarity in your purpose. If the purpose is for materialistic need that comes from civil services, that will not take you throughout the journey. That will not push you also. 2-3 days it will push you, and then you can get the same benefit from any other jobs as well. So that will not push you. So have a strong purpose. Secondly is patience. The results might take a little time, because the exam process itself is 1 year. So have patience and trust yourself, because trust yourself is a very small word, but you will understand that during the whole process. Sometimes to encourage you, there might be no one around you. You will have to encourage yourself. At that time, your purpose will encourage you for a long time. So have a strong purpose. Thirdly is, even though you're alone, it's okay. You might not have friends sometimes to be around with you. It's okay to be alone than have bad friends who are demotivating and not supporting. So it's okay to be alone. Don't feel bad for that, not having a social life. Even I didn't have an active social life. I didn't have an active social life at all during that process. That's a sacrifice that you're doing. That sacrifice will reap its benefit, and don't worry about that. People might call you bookworm. It's okay, take it as a compliment, because the exam demands that and you're doing it. You're not doing it for anyone, you're doing it for yourself. So be kind to yourself, be honest to yourself, be thoughtful of what you're doing, and be honest, because if you lie to yourself, that's the biggest mistake that you can do in your whole life, because you're cheating yourself by giving a flowered answer of, oh yeah, I am studying. Yeah, I studied yesterday. I studied the day before. I will study in the next day. So don't do that postponing of things, and be honest to yourself. Be kind to yourself is because you're giving the effort and the benefits are not coming. It's okay, be kind. You did what you could do at that point of time, and now give a encouraging words of, I will do even more to get the required benefit. So be kind, be honest, and be thoughtful to yourself. So this would be my piece of words to everyone who is present here.
Thank you so much, Bindu. The words are not only from somebody who's successful, but the words are from somebody who's been through this and is exactly in the same position as you are right now, and this just 1.5 years back from now, right? And the story is so remarkable also because it's our own story. It's just, sometimes we just see people sitting across the board as somebody different, but it's just our own story. This is you sitting this side 1.5 years from now and giving the same interview, right? Let's start working on that. Best of luck.